All right. So here's a question that I would be willing to bet you have never been asked before. What do loneliness, podcasts, health, and volunteering all have in common? Now, if you'd asked me this question a year ago, I would have told you absolutely nothing. But as luck would have it, I stumbled across the answer to that question while I was trying to find the answer to a question that we are all familiar with. What do I want to do with my life? I've broken the answer to both of these questions down into a three-part proposal where I'm going to tell you what I would like to do, why I would like to do it, and how I could use your help. Hi there. My name is Emily, and when I grow up, I would like to be the host of Dirty Jobs. Well, sort of. Currently, I'm the host of I Think You Should Meet, which is a podcast that I developed with the intention to foster positive change by sharing the life stories of ordinary yet inspirational individuals who just wouldn't otherwise go seeking their 15 minutes of fame. So, beginning this year, I would like to host and produce a podcast and social media series specifically on volunteer organizations and volunteerism. So, think Dirty Jobs by Mike Rowe, but make it volunteering. So, the goal here is to shed light on the many ways that people can improve their own health and the lives of others simply by getting involved in their community. That covers the what. Now let's jump into the why of this project. There are a lot of problems that our society is currently facing, but two of them that I feel very strongly about are our health crisis and the loneliness epidemic, which, yes, is an actual epidemic stated by the US Surgeon General in 2023. So these problems impact multiple generations and are just going to continue to have a domino effect on future generations if we don't take action to shift that situation now. I would like this project to serve as an attempt at being part of the solution rather than just another voice in the echo chamber talking about our problems. As a member of the generation that's the most affected by the loneliness epidemic, and a former personal trainer and group fitness manager and instructor, I've experienced heavy exposure to both of these crises, which is exactly why I feel called to act on them. It's my proposition that the 18 to 35-year-old demographic presents the perfect set of circumstances where we can see the need for more volunteer engagement, listenership, and trust in podcasts, and the negative health impact of our loneliness epidemic intersect and just create this window of opportunity for massive positive change. I don't expect you to take my word for it, though. When I started to realize this myself, I decided that I was just going to go ahead and dive into the research and see if I could find information that contradicted my hunch. Honestly, the hardest part of writing this proposal was deciding what data to use because there was an overwhelming amount in support of this idea. So, here are a few statistics that I think illustrate this intersection really well. It's not a secret that volunteerism has been on the decline. According to AmeriCorps, it actually fell from 30% in 2019 to 23.2% in 2021. So while we've seen a decline in volunteerism, we've also experienced an increase in need for volunteer activity. In 2022, nearly two-thirds, 64.4% to be exact, of nonprofits reported an increase in demand for their organizational services. And then additionally, people in their 20s are the least likely to volunteer at only 18.8%, which I honestly think is even a little bit inflated because I am in my late 20s and I can tell you I do not know 1 in 5 people that volunteer on a regular basis. So, what's the impact of the loneliness epidemic and how does that fit in here? Well, 73% of Gen Z in the US report feeling alone sometimes or always. And 32% of adults in the United States aged 18 to 29 reported always or often feeling lonely, which was the highest amongst any age group. And worldwide, 59% of 18 to 24-year-olds and 54% of 25 to 35-year-olds reported a negative health impact on their well-being from feelings of loneliness in 2022. That is that exact demographic. Lacking social connection can be as dangerous as smoking 15 cigarettes a day, according to the advisory from the US Surgeon General. The third piece of this puzzle here is podcast engagement and what relevance that holds. Well, half the United States 12 to 34-year-olds listen to podcasts. And according to a study from Deloitte, 76% of Gen Z and 78% of millennial listeners trust their podcast host. 65% of Gen Z and 61% of millennials feel a sense of community with other podcast listeners. And 53% of Gen Z and 49% of millennials are influenced by ads while listening to podcasts more than ads they hear in other places. Quite the opportunity window right there. So while these various statistics may seem to have little relation on the surface, I propose that they highlight a really obvious problem, but simultaneously provide insight into the solution. The younger generations are the ones that are suffering the greatest from their lack in connection, but they also just so happen to be the least engaged in their communities and in volunteer activities. So, how do you get them more involved? Well, we need to meet them on their turf. We need to appeal to them through the media that they trust and rely on for advice. Podcasting. So, I believe we stand the best chance at getting young adults involved if we can expose and promote the benefits of service and community engagement through sharing experiences and stories and information on various forms of media. If they're going to look to be influenced, why not influence them to have their own positive impact? The obvious burning question here is, why is volunteering the answer to our poor health and our loneliness? There are a myriad of positive impacts that volunteering can have on a person's life. But the ones that I'd like to focus on for the purpose of this proposal are mental and physical health, longevity, education, and creating more qualified candidates for jobs. A study of Gen Z young adults from 2022 found that 42% are diagnosed with a mental illness. Now, bear in mind the undeniable impact that mental health has on your physical health and your overall well being. And do you think that that 42% would stand to benefit from something that helps fight loneliness, separates you from your problems, provides perspective, and increases satisfaction levels? Because that is exactly what volunteering has been proven to do. According to Dan Buettner's research on the blue zones, which are the 5 regions in the world where people are the healthiest and live the longest, volunteering improves your life, health, and happiness. This is especially true if it's done regularly. And he says that helping others benefits our health just as it benefits the health of those you serve. It's a simple and effective way to create a new social network of like minded people with a shared sense of purpose. I'm going to say that last part one more time. It's a simple and effective way to create a new social network of like minded people with a shared sense of purpose. Sounds like the antidote to loneliness, if you ask me. But individuals are not the only benefactor. Forbes called volunteering, quote, the best kept secret to improving well being, and said that 64% of employees who volunteer said that it improved their work relationships. They also cited benefits such as developing soft skills and more self confidence. Not to mention, 92% of human resource executives agree that contributing to a nonprofit can improve an employee's leadership skills. Exactly the kind of skills that one would need to help them connect better with other people. But being active in your community can help you learn more than just skills for the resume. I think that we can all relate over feeling confused and conflicted by the state of the world right now, and we struggle to know what sources of information to trust. In order to understand the issues in your community and honestly in the world at large, you have to be exposed to them through sources other than the media. We should be encouraging individuals to let their opinions and their beliefs be informed by what they encounter in their own life and in their local communities. The most accessible way to gain exposure is honestly just hiding in plain sight. We simply need to get involved to get educated. Now, the third part of this proposal is how I can use your help. It's my personal belief that companies and organizations not only can, but should help in the promotion of community engagement. The responsibility to set the right example falls to all parties with influence, media, corporate, and individuals alike. The good news is that we're not helpless. So while I could coin my own call to action, I think that the US Surgeon General already said it best. So, to quote his advice on how we can combat the loneliness epidemic, he says, advancing a connected culture requires individuals and leaders to seek opportunities to do so in public and private dialogue, schools, workplaces, and in the forces that shape our society, like media and entertainment. Behaviors are both learned from and reinforced by the groups that we participate in and the communities that we are a part of. Thus, the more we observe others practicing these values, the more they'll be reinforced in us. All types of leaders and influencers, national, local, political, cultural, corporate, etc., can use their voices to underscore these core values and model healthy social connection and dialogue. Media and entertainment shape our beliefs through the depiction of stories. These narratives can help individuals see themselves in stories and help to reduce stigma, thus enabling more connection. Further, our institutions should invest time, attention, and resources in ways that demonstrate these values. It's really important to emphasize that this is not a job that is meant for just one person to fulfill. And I stand to reach and impact the lives of far more people if I can garner the financial support of influential organizations such as yours. It is no longer enough to just gently encourage employees and individuals to give back and get involved. Society needs influential and trustworthy leaders holding them accountable to doing so. I'm confident in my ability to both be that leader and to help identify and uplift more of those leaders in the world. So, with your support, I would like to achieve this mission and provide a platform for those community leaders to emerge and to get more young people involved. Times like these are exactly when we need people to adopt a service oriented mindset that reinstates a purpose driven society. In closing, I ask that you please consider sponsoring my efforts. There are many ways that you can contribute to the mission. I'm seeking partnerships in the form of advertisements on the podcast, sponsorships, grants, as well as contributions to clothing, gear, lodging, etc. Anything that makes the continued pursuit of this goal possible. So, if your organization would like to consider a contribution, please reach out to me directly, and I would be happy to speak more in depth with you. And I'm eager to learn your thoughts on how we can build a better community for future generations. And I look forward to hearing from you.